Hmm. So, the Detroit Lions just reportedly are having a visit with CJ Stroud. Check that out. That's unique. I know back in 2021, Brad Holmes said when you're drafting this high, it's always smart to evaluate the top quarterbacks in every draft. You can do this for a couple of reasons. One, for your team, because it's the most important position on the team, but also to see what other teams might be seeing to help you get a better idea of how the draft boards are going to flow. And who knows? I mean, it might be one of those things where it's like, what resources will it take for us to go get one? But let's go ahead and look at this article. The Detroit Lions have brought in CJ Stroud on a top 30 visit. Okay, you get about 30 of these. And they're doing their due diligence. Yeah, it says the latest interesting name to come across their top 30 visits are Ohio State quarterback CJ Stroud. Yeah, that is interesting. So we're going to go back to this in a second. I'm going to give you my comp for CJ Stroud. I'm going to give you my comp, and I've said this before on this channel. I've said this when watching Ohio State football as a Michigan fan, and I've said this basically anytime. CJ Stroud's comp in the NFL is a more mobile version of Jared Goff. That's who Stroud is. Here's what Stroud has. He doesn't have ridiculous arm strength, but he has good arm strength. He does have ridiculous accuracy when he's not pressured. When Stroud has a clean pocket, which often he did at Ohio State, that dude is shockingly accurate. Ask Georgia about that. All right. He is shockingly accurate. When he gets pressure in his face, when he is pressured, guess what? The accuracy, kind of like Jared Goff. Okay, very similar to Jared Goff. The biggest difference between Stroud and Goff, when Stroud needs to run, he is much more effective at it than Jared Goff. I would also make the argument that up until the back half of last year, Stroud's pocket presence is a little bit better as well, but that's college to pro, so that's probably not a real thing. I just think this is such an interesting visit. I just think it's so interesting. Do the Lions actually think he could fall? I mean, he can't fall. So why would they take the time when they have 2 first-round picks to bring in a guy that they can't pick at their spot? Do they think maybe he falls to 3? Like, that's kind of my thought on this is, what if Stroud falls to 3? Like, what if Richardson and Bryce Young go 1, 2? Stroud falls to 3, and all of a sudden we can trade up and we can say to the Cardinals, we'll give you 6 and 18 for the third pick, and then we'll take Stroud. Like, now all of a sudden you got something cooking a little bit. I don't think it's just CJ Stroud that this happens with. What if Bryce Young falls to 3 and you say the same thing to the Arizona Cardinals? I would be fine moving up for Bryce Young. I would be fine moving up for CJ Stroud. I'm just going to be honest with you all. I love 2 picks in the first round. I love 2 picks. And I love the idea of Christian Gonzalez. I love the idea of a difference maker on the defensive line, another difference maker on the defensive line. I saw the Denver Broncos win a Super Bowl when Peyton Manning couldn't throw the ball more than 30 yards. I saw that. I saw them win because they had elite defensive line play, especially on the edge. They had 2 edge rushers. I believe at the time it was Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware. I think that's who they had. And Cam Newton didn't know what to do with himself. His career was never the same after that game. He goes from an MVP season to real fast. So I love the idea of that. I also love the idea of, what if one of these guys can be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, and no matter what the rest of the roster looks like, we're in a good spot. Like, I also really do like that. I need that to be known. So, give me your thoughts on this one. I'm going to keep talking on this. We're going to go back to this article, but I do want to pause in this moment in the video and be like, give me your thoughts on this. Like, would you be opposed to trading 2 first-round picks to get up to number 3 if Stroud fell? This is coming from a Michigan fan. I think CJ Stroud would be unbelievable in this offense. I think Bryce Young would be unbelievable in this offense. Like, when you think about this offensive line and the weapons that they have around, like, this is picture perfect setup. Jared Goff was struggling until this year. He struggled in the Rams offense, and he's doing phenomenal here. That's a big deal. Like, I think people have to start realizing how quarterback friendly Ben Johnson's offense is. And the question is it fully Ben Johnson's offense, or is it a little bit of Dan Campbell's offense? And how quarterback friendly this is. When you have the line that we do, when you have the speed of Jameson Williams, when you have the slot ninja that is Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you have good running backs. This is quarterback friendly. And if you can put an elite quarterback in a quarterback friendly system, boom. You have Patrick Mahomes. You have Tom Brady. You have Peyton Manning. You have what is a complete different animal. If you draft a quarterback and he is elite, you are pushing for playoffs. You are pushing for Super Bowls for the next 15 years. An elite corner will help your defense be elite for the next 7 or 8, maybe. An elite offensive lineman will help for the next decade. Defensive lineman will help you for the next close to decade, especially on the edge. Interior, probably 8 years. This is like guaranteed. I'm not saying people can't go longer than that, but a quarterback, if he's elite, you draft him at 22, 23 years old, he is going to be a great quarterback till he's 36 to 38 years old. That's how it goes. That's what we're seeing in the NFL. So when all of a sudden you're talking about CJ Stroud, when you're talking about Bryce Young, I have a completely different level of confidence in them than I do Anthony Richardson. I think Anthony Richardson, the sky is oh my goodness, is the limit. Okay. But the floor is so much lower. And even right now, when you look at like Lamar Jackson, which is a fair comp, okay? It's a fair comp. Don't give me they're not the same just because they're running quarterback. I understand they're not the same, but it is a fair comp. There's very much concerns with the accuracy, and coming out of college, there is not the high production on or through the air in college. And so there is some of the same concerns. Here he is at 26 years old, and nobody will give 2 first-round picks up for him. First off, it's kind of silly, isn't it? Like, name the other top 5 quarterbacks in the league, right? Patrick Mahomes, guys like that, Justin Herbert. I would even make the argument that right now people give up 2 first-round picks for Trevor Lawrence. Like, I'm shocked. Josh Allen, like Lamar Jackson, it's just the way he plays. And it's because he wants that fully guaranteed and he didn't have an agent. But anyways, this is a Lions talk show. All right, so let's talk Lions. I'm just blown away by this CJ Stroud thing. And a boy can dream. Okay, let's do that. And that brings us even more reason for you to watch the 2023 NFL Draft on April 27th with Chris and me, Craig, and we want to have you there. Live draft party. We'll see you there. Hit the comment below. What do you think about Stroud? Is he your favorite quarterback? What about Young? I don't know. See ya.